guys, and welcome back to this place. If you are new, then welcome here for the very first time. I am Carmen, and today we are actually starting Season 1, Episode 1 of Battlestar Galactica. Previously, which hopefully you've seen, I did the mini-series, and I think that gave us a good base sort of knowledge going into the actual series of where we are, what we're doing, who we are, who we're fighting, who we should root for, which for me is a bit up in the air. But yeah, we know that we know 4 out of the 12, I think, Cylon models. We know that we're looking for Earth, which is the mythical 13th colony of humanity. We know that we're fighting against the Cylons and that they can look human. And in fact, they may not even be aware that they are Cylon, like Boomer. We know a good base knowledge going into the show, at least I think. So I'm not going to ramble at you guys too much. You guys know where we are. Now it's just time to see where we're going to go from here.
Previously on Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, cool. We get a little previously on, too.
Do you have any idea what they will do to me if they find out?
Oh, yeah. They would for sure kill you for treason.
Giving up my seat.
Yes, Hilo. He better still be alive somewhere. Is he remembering? Just a little memory.
And 1 minute to mark.
What's going on? Okay, they have beards, so this is some future point, maybe? Or like 5 o'clock shadows, not like full beards. Is he just here in his mind?
God has a plan for you guys.
Are you God? So he's just dreaming or remembering?
A rational universe explained through rational means.
I love you, that's not rational.
True. Love is not rational.
You're also not really here. Neither am I.
So he is dreaming and he knows it.
Please prepare for our faster-than-light jump.
Where are they jumping?
Why do the Cylons come every 33 minutes? Why isn't it 34, 35?
Callie.
Shut up.
I mean, it's a valid question. That is a random amount of time. There's the Cylons.
5 days now. There are limits. The human body, the human mind.
Yeah. They have to sleep. I mean, you couldn't do that every 33 minutes for very long without just your body literally shutting down.
All civilian ships away.
Recover fighters.
Combat landings.
Could you do this every 33 minutes for 5 days? Because I could not. Just the mental toll that would take on you, especially in a sleep-deprived state, is a lot.
You got 32 minutes, people.
I'd sleep whatever good it would do.
Eventually you'll make a mistake.
And you'll kill us all.
Mm-hmm.
For another 33 minutes.
I like this is what he's choosing to do in his 33 minutes. I'm kind of scared to watch this intro because, like, what if it has some spoilers in it? Is this the intro still, or is this the episode? Okay, I think that was still the intro. In which case, Hilo's alive. 130.35 hours. You guys, I would not be okay.
The 6 groups, and they jump.
I would not worry about shaving, to be honest.
Look, you've outdone this 237 times.
They know what to do. Sleep deprivation can cause a lot of mistakes, though. The human body's not meant to go without sleep for long periods of time.
Hey, we'll sleep when we're dead.
Might be sooner than you think.
These Cylons look like us now.
Is that Sam Witwer?
I don't give a frap.
A little rough on the new CO, you think?
And I didn't ask you.
She's upset about Hilo.
Hilo's gone.
I didn't ask you that either. Sorry.
It's okay. You're allowed to be human and feel things. Or be half Cylon and feel things.
We can't transmit photos yet, but you can put them on the board outside.
Her family. The little bear got me. Damn it. So many people. Oh, there's so many more than I realized. I mean, it's an entire species, right? The show always getting me.
Update on the head count.
49,000 something. Humanity is dwindling. That's for sure.
Do you want children, guys?
Bit of a random question.
I want us to have a child.
You're not even there.
Dr. Amarak had requested to speak with the president.
Primarak, I see. I used to work with him at the Ministry of Defense.
Oh, really?
He's uncovered important information regarding how the Cylons were able to defeat colonial defenses.
Perhaps I should speak to him if you're busy.
I actually think he wanted to speak directly with the president. It sounded urgent.
Yeah,
Maybe something about a certain traitor in the president's inner circle.
right?
I'd say you have a serious problem.
Yeah, I'd say there's an issue too.
He's a strange one, isn't he?
Right. He must seem like so like out of sorts. Okay, Cylon occupied Caprica. Okay. Hilo day 6. He's running. Dang. He can run faster than those Cylons. Go Hilo, go. He's not looking well. Oh, he plays a mine. Imagine he's not sleeping either, though. And, like, that's the thing, right? Cylons don't have to sleep. Humans do. So that's always going to be an advantage for the Cylons. At least he's alive. Unfortunately, I did watch the beginning, and that kind of spoiled it for me, but... They shouldn't spoil you for the episodes you're about to watch. You know what I mean?
How'd the doc start pumping him up with stimulants?
That's gonna come back and bite us in the ass.
Yep.
It's my 10 minutes, or is this yours?
Yours.
I believe it was your 10 minutes.
The old man's so tired he can't remember, then it's his turn.
Right. He needs sleep. They all need sleep. They can't survive like this for much longer.
Kara, everyone
I
else.
don't fly with stims. You're the CAG. Act like one.
What the hell does that mean?
One of your idiot pilots is acting like a child and refusing to take her pills. You drag her sorry ass down to sick bay and you make her take those pills.
Is that what you want him to do?
Sir, I'll take my pills.
Carry on.
He is looking quite rough. Quite rough, if I do say so myself. Oh my god. 6! Red. Girl, you scared me. Is she actually there? I mean, she was on there, right? He's gonna think that she's a person, though, right? Oh no.
Jump 238 complete.
Oh god. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I can't.
All civilian ships present and
What?
one civilian ship missing. The Olympic carrier. I think I accounted for all civilian ships.
Did you or didn't you?
It's frickin' hour 130 something.
1,345 souls, sir.
50 other things may have happened. We don't know what the hell did happen.
Okay, but nobody can survive off of what you're asking people to survive off of and function at a normal pace.
We are still expected to do our jobs.
That's an unrealistic expectation. That's all I'm saying.
You make mistakes, people die.
Okay, but you can't place that on her shoulders. I understand why they're upset, but when you're tired and you're sleep deprived, you're not gonna think, you're not gonna be able to function at maximum capacity. Like, you're not. It's not possible. It's not possible.
Where's the doctor that's supposed to be on board? What's his name?
Was he on that ship? He was on the ship that got lost, right?
He was on the Olympic carrier.
Yep. She did it somehow, right?
God is watching out for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Amarak posed a threat to you.
She got rid of him.
Connection, maybe, but not God.
Her.
That which God gives, he can also take away.
Mm-hmm. She's God in this scenario, right? Like, right? They're saying this time the Cylons might not follow them.
No enemy contacts.
Keep the clock running.
I don't trust it.
I think we wait.
I mean, what else can you do? They're all getting so tired. Look at them. That guy's asleep. That guy's asleep. She's asleep. I think that guy up there is asleep.
Have to take advantage of this time.
Look.
People get some rest.
Not that I'm not honored by being chosen to sit in my cockpit for the next 3 hours.
Why you? This patrol is 100% stimulated. Hey, how about you, Boomer? Doc tells me you're holding up better than anybody in the squadron.
Because she's a Cylon.
You're just gonna make me come over there and kick your ass.
But she actually is a Cylon. I mean, of course she doesn't know that she's a Cylon, but she is.
Greatest contact, one ship.
What?
It's the Olympic carrier, sir.
How? That's sus.
Action stations.
Yeah, you can't trust it. It was gone for a long time. I mean, it's suspicious as hell. You can't just trust it.
If they were left behind, why didn't the Cylons destroy them? Why are they showing up now?
It's God's punishment for your lack of faith.
Oh, that's just great, that is.
The Olympic carrier's been infiltrated by Cylon agents. They've been tracking the ship all along.
Probably.
Logically, in order for you to survive, the Olympic carrier should be destroyed.
I mean, that's a more logical explanation than they just got lost in space and then found.
Have Boomer ask him how they escaped the Cylons.
Yeah.
How you escaped from the Cylons?
I thought we were goners and they just broke off. I've got a Dr. Amarak on board. He says he knows something about a traitor in our midst.
I strongly recommend that we cut off all wireless communication with that ship.
The only reason the Olympic carrier is still flying is because the Cylons let them survive. They've been tracking that ship all along.
No further voice contact is authorized. Do not approach the fleet until further notice.
If the ship poses a threat to us, we have to eliminate that threat.
But there's innocent people aboard too, right? Like, they could all be innocent. We don't even know if they're actually tracking them.
Greatest contact. Strike that. Multiple greatest contacts. Hit the Cylons.
Oh God, go. Y'all gotta leave. Leave.
Radiological alarm.
From where?
The Olympic carrier.
We have to eliminate the Olympic carrier.
Yeah.
There are 1,300 people on that ship.
There's 47,000 people. I don't know. There's innocent people too.
It's God's choice.
God, fucking stop with
He
that.
wants you to repent. Repent of your sins. Accept His true love and you will be saved.
Her love, right? She's God.
I repent.
Do it.
We were directed to destroy the Olympic carrier.
They're gonna see the people?
If we're gonna do this, just do it.
I mean, what if you're wrong?
I don't know. God, the show always gets me. Don't do it. Maybe don't do it. Maybe. What if there's innocent people? I couldn't have that on my conscience. I tell you that. I don't know. This show is so conflicting. Like, I don't know how to feel or what to think.
Hero, it's all right. I'm a friend.
I mean, she needs to stop making out with everybody when she first meets them.
Sure?
But that's a different Boomer. Was it a show, an act? So it is an act? It's like a theater performance for them? For what reason?
I gave the order. It's my responsibility.
I pulled the trigger.
It's true. Y'all share it. You share it. Like, it's a really shitty thing to share, but you share it.
24 hours, no Cylons. At least you know it was the right choice.
The right choice.
I don't think there is a right choice in that situation. Lord knows I could not be in her position. I couldn't sacrifice 1,300 people.
Update on the head count.
Subtract how many?
A baby was born this morning on the Rising Star.
Humanity survives. That's really sad though. Like, imagine bringing your child into this world. A little bit of hope, right? I don't know if that's hopeful though. Like, a child in this world, a life constantly running for your life. So the show remains 3 for 3 out of making me cry in every episode thus far that I have seen. I hope that is not a constant trend, but we'll see. We've been 1 second, essentially, 33 minutes, but away from the Cylons on the run this entire time so far. So the fact that now we're gaining a little bit of distance is gonna hopefully help to not make the emotional stakes at like a super high level every single episode, but we will see if they give me a reprieve from crying or not. I also cry about a lot of things, so it could just be my fault. I think it's really interesting. I think I talked about it in the end of the last episode, or the end of the miniseries as well. This idea of God and the soul and humanity and like all of it being intertwined. It's interesting that they're still really playing into that, and the idea of all of it and the way that it intersects and intermingles and everything. It's really interesting to see 6, aka Red is what I call her, but apparently the fandom likes to call her 6 because she's model 6 of 12, right? And it's really interesting to see her and Gaius's interactions in this episode, because I think in the last episode it was a lot more vague as to whether or not she was actually there. And in this episode, it definitely seemed more like she's actually in his head, and the conversations that he's having with her have repercussions. Of course, it could just be him talking to himself and figuring things out that way, and it just is taking the form of her. I'm still not fully sure which one it is, but I can definitely see it actually somehow being her. because of the conversations that they had in this episode and the sort of ripple effect that we saw those conversations have in regards to the Odyssey and the death of all of those people, right? So, also, sorry, I think I got off track with the God thing. It's really interesting that she is talking about God and God has a plan and you need to repent because you're facing God's wrath and you didn't believe in him, and so this is your punishment. Like all of that conversation, in the way that it's framed, she and the Cylons are God, right? They are perhaps a new God for a new world that is coming to fruition, that is forming into existence, whatever you want to, I don't think that made sense, but however you want to look at it. Is she saying that the Cylons are the new God? Or is she, because she's a Cylon, struggling with the concept of a God and a creator and the idea of God as a creator? Are the Cylon, or is that part of it because the Cylons were created by man, right? So in that way, humans, made themselves God. They created the Cylons in their own image, sort of, right? And then the Cylons, in turn, created the hybrids, right? Because are they half human, or are they just Cylons that look human? In which, either way, the Cylons created more Cylons that now look human, so they created life in the image of their maker, therefore making the Cylons God, right? You see, it's a cyclical sort of idea, and it makes total sense because, again, going back to the idea of God as the creator, so they created life. And now, because they are the more powerful sort of creationist, creator, whatever, in this world, then humans should be subservient and worship God, and then they're God, right? Does that make... Anyway, that's the way that I was taking that conversation that Gaius was having with Six in this episode, because they have wrestled with God and souls and humans and Cylons and like the intersection and where they intersect, right, in the miniseries. So it seems like that's going to be a recurring theme throughout the show, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it and where they take it, because as we know, this isn't like Earth, right? Like, in this world, correct me if I'm wrong, humans went to the 12 colonies, and then Earth was the mythical 13th colony of humanity, right? Or nation or something. And so their idea of God and their Bible would be slightly different than ours. Also interesting because Gaius is talking about logic. Like, he's very much the atheist scientist, right? He believes in science. He believes in what he can see. He believes in everything that's right in front of him that he has reason and evidence to believe in. And, but he's saying that's not logical, but you're also not logical, Cylons. Like you Six in particular, Cylon, you don't make logical sense because you want me to love you. You want to have a kid with me. Like, that's not logic, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. And humans don't make sense, whereas Cylons should. But again, Cylons were created in humans' image. It's cyclical, like I said. Anyway, it's very interesting because it's religion and science butting heads, and we don't know where we don't know where it's gonna end up. But it's an interesting premise and idea and talking point, I guess. So we know, obviously, we know that they ended up, I think the last time they jumped was 238. They were able to finally get some sleep after 132 hours when they destroyed the Odyssey, which I'll talk about in a second. But you guys, the longest in my life that I have ever stayed up without sleep was like 36, 38 hours. I don't know, somewhere in there. And I like passed out for so long afterwards. Now, granted, different people need different amounts of sleep to be able to function. And I do think that I'm a person that needs a greater amount of sleep to function than a lot of people. My fiance, for example, needs much less sleep than me to be a functioning human. Whereas if I don't get like at least 8 hours, like I'm grumpy, you know? So obviously there's that to take into account. But still, 132 hours without like a substantial, restful, REM, good amount of sleep. Because you have to wake up every 30, well, you can't even sleep for 33 minutes. You have to sleep for a section of 33 minutes, right? So like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, maybe. There's no way that most people would be functioning at like a good level for their brain to work, you know? So I did feel really bad for that one girl. Damn it, I wrote her name down in the last episode and I can't remember. But who they were talking about, like, mistakes get people killed and like you left the ship behind and we can't, like, I know we're tired and all this stuff, but we can't afford to be sloppy sort of thing, right? Which I understand where they're coming from, and I think it's a somewhat valid thing to say, but at the same time, I would not be functioning even half as well as they are. And the thing is, humans have to sleep. Like, it's built into the way that we work that we have to sleep, we have to eat, we have to do certain things in order to function at like a baseline of coherency, right? And so it's just unrealistic to pump people full of stimulants and expect for them to still function at the capacity that they would were they fully well rested or even sort of well rested. Because sleep deprivation, they have done studies in our world. Sleep deprivation really, really, in honor of the show, I will say, fracks you up. Like, you're fracked, you know? Like, sleep deprivation does really nasty things to people and the way that your brain works and comprehends and understands and is able to output information and input information. So, honestly, if it had not gone like it went now, like, I don't even know how they got to 132 hours, but if it had continued, it would not have continued for very long because, again, humans can only function for so long without sleep before there's just no way to function at all anymore. 5 days, like, God, that's crazy. I want to sleep. I love sleep. I love sleep so much. I would be like, you know, I guess I'm just gonna die. We did get confirmation in this episode that Hilo is alive. I was gonna say alive and well, but that would be overstating it by a lot. Hilo is alive. Caprica is occupied by the Cylons, but they have not killed every human, I suppose. Like, maybe there's maybe there's like prisons, maybe there's, I don't know. They want Hilo to be alive for some reason, though, because they had that weird bit of theater with Hilo and this other boomer and Six, and I don't understand why she kisses everybody that she meets. Like, I mean, I wouldn't stop her, but I'm just saying, it's a little weird. Anyway, I just wonder what that bit of theater was for, because... Okay, here's my thing. At the end of the miniseries, we saw 4 of the models of the Cylons come out of that thing onto Ragnar Station, right? There was the guy that Adama was hanging out with. There was the guy that was like the tour guide on the ship. I can't remember what his name was. There was Six, and there was Boomer. Those were the models of the Cylons that we saw. There are still 8 models of Cylons, I think. I think there's 12 models. Let me go back to my notes from back then. From that episode, back then. 12 Cylon models, yeah. Okay, so there are 8 models of Cylons that we have no idea what they look like. They could be anybody. They could be Adama. They could be Gaius. They could be the president. They could be anybody, okay? Anybody. And so we saw those. And then they were talking. They revealed that. And then now we have this bit of theater playing out on Caprica with Hilo and Boomer. I'm just curious as to what the end goal is. Obviously, this is literally the first episode of the show, so I can't expect for them to give me all of the answers, or any of the answers, really. This is kind of where they present us with questions. And so my question, based off of what they've presented us, is what that theater is for. Because eventually, if their plan is to get Hilo back on to Galactica, then there's going to be 2 Boomers. You know what I mean? Like, there's 2 Sharons. There's 2 of the people that he thinks that it is. So, yeah. Obviously, again, this is my speculation based off of, like, 3 seconds of in-show thing. But it was meant to happen. And I'm not sure why. But I know that there has to be a purpose for it. Because they wanted that Boomer to rescue that Hilo. And there's got to be a reason. I'm just curious as to what it is. I think that the show likes to complicate the idea of the good guys in the scenario, right? There's no reason that we've been given, I mean, except for they've killed a lot of humans, to root against the Cylons, you know? Like, we don't know what their end goal is or their end game. And they also, like, you can kind of understand why they would kill humans, because humans created and then enslaved them to work for them, you know? So I like, and I've said this in the other episodes, that it kind of plays with the idea of guilt and morality. And there's a lot of gray area in the show regarding, like, good guys, bad guys, and morality in general. And this episode really furthered that, because they have, of course, we don't know that the Odyssey was in fact taken over by Cylons, but we have a pretty good idea. Of course, that could have just been implanted in us to believe, so that we as an audience and them as people are kind of more okay with what the inevitable thing that they did was. But I like the moral gray area of the whole show, because I think that there is a lot of moral gray area in life. Like, things are not always, in fact, I would say things are rarely black and white, good or bad, right or wrong. You know, there's not such strict binaries in real life. And so I like the fact that there's not such strict binaries in the show. But I could not be in the position that Adama, that Lee, that the president, Laura, like, I could not be in the position that they were in, where they have to make the choice to sacrifice, 1,300 roughly people. Like, I think I've talked about it in this show before. I've definitely talked about it in other shows that I've done, but I'm not somebody who thinks that, I know, kind of ironic with the shirt I'm wearing, but I'm not somebody who thinks that the lives of the many outweigh the life of the one, because I think that when you make the choice to devalue one human life, you devalue all human lives, and it's a very gray area to be in. So I personally could not make that choice, because it's just, it's not, I guess, my morality, if you want to say. Although I definitely think there's exceptions and gray areas, and it's complicated, like all things in life and in fiction should be and are. But I don't think that I could sit in any of those people's shoes and make the choice that they made. And I like that the president corrected that guy whose name I think I knew and also forgot. When he was like, at least you know it was the right choice to make. Because she's like, she didn't say it, but I feel like she was thinking what I said in that moment, which is, I don't think that there is a right choice to make in that scenario. No matter what you do, like, I don't think that you can justify it personally, you know? Like, I don't think that there's anything that taking that many lives, that knowing, okay, I don't think that there's any knowledge that could comfort you after taking that many lives, you know, after sacrificing that many people. Because let's say that the Odyssey was taken over by Cylons. At one point, there was 1,300, not 1,000, 1,300 innocent people on that ship. And whether the Cylons killed them or you killed them, that's 1,300 people whose lives don't exist anymore because of choices that everyone made. And there's no happy bow to wrap that up in and make it okay. You know, I think that at the end, when the baby's born and the president is kind of like laughing and crying, I think that it's like, here's one good thing. Like, we can add one life to the tally, right? Which I think, I wrote this down, I hope I'm right, stands at 47,973 humans still alive, at least on these ships. Again, now we know that there's at least Hilo alive on Caprica, possibly other humans still. But one baby being born is like, it's interesting, right? Because babies being born kind of symbolize like a hope for the future, you know, like children, that's why you're doing this. The hope for existing for future generations, for giving them a life worth living. And it's interesting because in this moment, this baby being born is both a sign of hope and I think just a tragedy at the same time, because this is the world that this baby is being born into, where they're literally running for their life from the second that they're born. Like, that's horrifying. I think it's horrifying. And I think that was the conflict on the president's face at the end, because this is cause for celebration, but also kind of cause for mourning as well, for the life that this child could have had and now no longer can. You know what I mean? At least that was my interpretation of it. You know, sharing the responsibility for the end of 1,300 lives isn't really the way that I wanted Adama and his son to bond, but I guess in a way it's a moment. Yeah, I don't really think that I have anything else to say about this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have, as always, if you want, you can like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. It really helps me out. Yeah, you can also watch the entire full-length reaction to this episode over on Patreon if you want. It is in the description down below. Don't know why I said it so weird. You can also watch the next episode right now over there as well. So join me if you want over there. It's a pretty good time, I think. I mean, I don't know. But don't feel any pressure because this episode, the next episode, they'll all be out on YouTube at some point. So no worries if you are okay with waiting a little bit longer for it. Anyway, I am going to get going. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, bye guys.